Hey,
How are
how are
you?
you?
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, how are you?
I am doing okay. I've got a minor issue in the kitchen though, so I'll be right back.
Okay, no worries. Give it a few more minutes for the other ladies to join. Britta, there might not be many of us tonight. We are short three ladies. I believe Tina may join, but it's going to be an intimate class today. I know you're busy, so I'll give you a couple more minutes and then we can get started.
Hey,
Hi, how are
crisis
you?
averted.
Yeah, it might be an intimate class today. So Britta, unfortunately, she's in Belgium. So with
Ah,
the time change, she's really tired. Tammy,
hmm.
her daughter is about to give birth, and she's like the last 2 weeks just trying to be there for her. And then Tanu has a holiday of some sort. So they're all getting the replay. So it might just be you, Tina, and maybe a third. We'll see.
All
But
right.
I like intimate. Feel like I can go deeper. How are you feeling?
I am feeling pretty good. I don't know, it's hard to explain. I'm excited. I'm not really sure why, but I'm gonna go with it.
Well, today is a good day. Today is all about the G Center. Are you familiar with it?
A little bit, yes. That's the heart center, sort of.
Correct. Is we're gonna get into it, but let's just is yours defined or undefined?
I'm pretty sure mine is defined. Let me pull it
Okay,
back up.
beautiful. Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting recording, but it's okay. I can edit it to make it sound all nice.
Let's see, where's my oh for crying out loud. Google help me out.
I think I have your chart. I can try and pull it. Let me see. But I would like for you to have it handy, just so that as I'm talking about the gates, to see which ones you have,
Hmm.
because there's a lot of conditioning that happens to us in the G Center. And that's why we're talking about it, because it's all about what's in the way, what is keeping you from making money, and how do we fix it?
Ah, perfect. Okay. Yes, mine is defined.
Beautiful. Do you know what gates you have lit up?
I've got gates 1, 7, 10, and 15 lit up.
Beautiful. So today we'll let anybody join if they're meant to. If not, they'll get the replay tomorrow. So ladies, no harm. I would have recorded it even if you didn't show up, just because I put so much love behind this. So today we're talking about the L word, although is the G center, right? So the G center, some people call it the G spot because they're hilarious. But whatever helps you remember it, this is where love lives. Lovability, God, source, spirit, universe, this is it. So talking about the G center, there's a lot of things that come up that live right here. So this is where we get our sense of self, our identity, our direction, love. Basically, if we're a car, this is the driver. This is the seat of how we navigate our avatar in this life. So think of it as like the seat of the soul. And really, there's no interpretation other than when you connect to yourself, wherever you feel that in your body is usually between your heart and your sacral, right? That is where it's located. So even though here it shows you like in the chest is right in that solar plexus area, if we're talking regular chakras, that's usually where you live. You being the extension of the big thing, right? So whether or not you're religious, this is where the soul is, whatever that definition is. And I won't go too in depth because I feel like you get that. But for the ladies on the recording, if you want me to go deeper, I can send you some voice notes on that. But let's talk about it, right? So we talked about everything that lives here, but we need to understand how it affects you, whether you're defined, like you, dear, right here, or if you are undefined. I believe I looked at all the charts for the ladies and everybody is defined, but I'll touch lightly on the undefined just in case. So let's spend more time on this one since you're here, right? So when you're defined, I want you to think of identity, purpose, self. You are very clear about who you are. You have consistent energy here, meaning you have a consistent sense of identity. You know who you are and you know where you're going, even if you don't know how you're going to get there. So the mantra for someone with a defined G center is, I am who I am. Because at the end of the day, there is nothing that anybody can make you do that doesn't feel right if it's not meant for you. Example, I got married at 21. I wanted kids. I was following the dream that my mother had for me. That was not my dream. It was me trying to fit that mold. And that's why it didn't work. And I tried to push it and force it, but there was a lot of pain down that route, right? So defined G center, you're pretty much the same no matter who you're around. And if you're not, if you find yourself changing depending on your environment or the people that you meet, you know how there's those people that like pick up an accent after a week of being somewhere? That's not you, right? You're very sure of yourself, very sure of who you are. Now, the biggest thing here is you can struggle with the fact that you're not that adaptable. So if you don't like somebody, you can't hide it. It's in your face, right? So you're the kind of people who like, if you don't jive with someone, if you don't want to be somewhere, if something doesn't align with you, you can't fake it. It's not in your DNA to be fake. Now, if you are, conditioning. Example, I'm Dominican. Side eye and going like, talking about someone is something that I grew up with, right? It doesn't mean that I like people. I just talk behind their back. You know, that's how I was raised. But now that I've aligned, I'm like, yeah, there's no need. I just don't like everybody. I'm not for everyone. So if you're connected to your G center, when it's in alignment, you basically have the capacity to comfort people who are lost, who don't know who they are, and you are able to point out new directions for them. Example, you and I come from narcissistic relationships. That feeling of coming out and not even knowing who you are, you did know who you were. The problem is that we betrayed ourselves so much, we forgot what it felt like to be us. There are people, though, who have an open G center who don't really know who they are, depending on who they're around. So the negatives here is you think everybody else has to go the way that you're going. Everybody else is like you. That is not the case. It'll never be the case, right? Because even though you and I are coaches, we're not the same kind of coaches. We don't serve the same people. Even if we do, if we get to specifics, we don't stand for the same thing. We don't have the same mission. And this is all about purpose, direction, self, and identity. We are at the core different, right? So it's about helping and comforting people to find themselves, but not to push our view of self on them, because everybody has their own journey. Are we following? Beautiful. So did I skip? So sorry, girl. Give me one sec. My slides are not working. Okay, here we go. So this is going to be the meat and potatoes. I was going to talk about the open, and I guess I can touch on it a little bit. So the opposite of defined is open, and this is where you're more fluid, more expansive, more changeable. Someone with an undefined G center is like an actor. You give them a role, they play the role, then they turn it in. So this is someone who's a chameleon, and their mantra is not I am who I am, but I am where I am and who I am around, meaning that the quality of their lives is based on people and place. If someone with an open G center is not happy, they need to move. They need to go find their tribe. They need to go find their sense of identity, because they do better around the better people that they are. Better opportunities come about, better interpretations of them come about, because if they're around, for example, someone like me, they'll feel who I am times 10. So they could be greater and bigger than someone who probably hasn't even gone to therapy once. Does that make sense? So for them, it's more about adaptation. And that's the gift. They get to try on roles and play around and kind of thrive. They can be at a party and everybody loves them and they can play the role and fit for everybody. But for us, we can't. For them, they just have to embrace that depending on where they are, they're going to be different. I won't spend a lot of time there just because it's you here today. But ladies, for the recording, if you want me to go deeper, I'm happy to. I prepared for this as well. But I want to move on to the good stuff because this is where I want to do a little bit of coaching. So let's talk about the G Center. And this is going to be, oh my gosh, did they move? So sorry, my love. I'm trying to, okay, we're just going to free flow because my notes are not really here. That's okay. So let's talk about the G Center. So there are multiple things I'm going to touch on today. One is like the theme, love and direction are the biggest things that live here. I'm going to talk about each gate, and then I'm going to tell you how to heal your gates to turn it towards abundance. Like, what's the inner work you have to do to overcome your self-worth, your limiting beliefs, thinking that you don't deserve it, that you're not lovable? Because if you think about lovability and you don't feel deserving of love, you also don't feel deserving of money. And if you think about worth, your worth is founded in source, right? If you don't love yourself or you don't have that connection with source or the world, you're not really going to be able to receive money. So I want to talk about the gates, and we'll talk about how to calibrate it towards abundance, but let's just start with open versus undefined. So sorry, closed, my gosh, my brain girl, defined versus undefined. There we go. If you are defined and you have the gate, consistent energy, all access. If you are undefined and you have some gates, you have consistent access in those gates. And if you are completely open, meaning you have no gates or nothing lit up, it gets like, it means you get to move in and out of these roles. You're fluid, because if you're around me, you're going to pick mine up. If you're around you, you're going to pick yours up. So they're kind of gender fluid, literally gender identity fluid, right? So starting with gate number 7, that's right here, is the gate of the army. And you have this one, right? Beautiful. I have this one too, so I can speak on it, but it's the gate of the role of the self, right? The biggest thing here is that this is about leadership. This is the influence behind the leader, but not so much the leader itself. So these are visionaries. These are people who are born leaders. They're natural. They can easily persuade people to follow them. They're very disciplined and regimented when they're operating right? And they can get people on the same page because they have that influence, right? So they are more future looking. So I put the theme here of the direction of looking forward. What this means is that these are your strengths. These are your strengths. You have a vision that's like future driven. Where are we going? What can we create? And you have the ability to persuade people to follow you. Example, whenever you saw me talking human design, something within you was like, oh my God, I need to learn from her. That's me commanding my leadership style, which is, if you want more, follow me. I do have that ability to persuade, but then so do you, right? So whoever has gate number 7, natural leader, persuasion, discipline, regiment, but does yours connect or is it hanging?
It's hanging.
Okay, so you might have a tad bit of a dictatorial personality, telling people this is the way it is, no questions asked. So it's about whenever you don't have a complete channel, when you just have a gate and they're hanging, there's an excess. So think about army temperament, except in excess. And were you in the military before by any chance?
I was, but real quick, what comes to mind when you talk about that? My kids used to call me the warden.
Okay, so you're familiar, right?
Yes.
So we tend to be very structured, and even within ourselves, we're very regimented on like, this is the way things have to be. And like, we hold ourselves to a standard that's unattainable. There's an excess. You have to find the balance of like motivational, building up, looking forward, having that vision, but also understanding that you only have the influence. You don't have the collective, what's the word I'm looking for? Influence and power are different things. Convincing someone doesn't mean that you can run the group. And it doesn't mean that you're lacking as a leader, But your strengths as a leader is more getting everybody excited, campaigning, building, getting the excitement going is not the plan or the execution. You're very regimented. You just need orders and then you can follow the army. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Beautiful. So then we go into gate number 1. This is the creative. Do you have this one? Beautiful. So do I. So this one is just like the name says, the creative. It's all about self-expression. This is someone who is drawn to creative endeavors. You are like a true artist, soul-wise, right? Creativity, when you get tapped in, it's either drawing or singing or writing. You can get lost in what you're doing. If you think about creativity and flow, it's a very feminine energy, right? You're in this, what's the word I'm looking for? In this nurturing energy of like bringing an idea to life and music and poetry, right? So this is someone who, think about like a astrology, like a Pisces artist, starving artist, right? They're very alone, very aloof. They don't like to be led. They kind of go to the rhythm of their own beat. Like the gift here is when you're this creative and you embody self-expression, you inspire people to be unique. You inspire people to not be sheep and follow what everybody else is doing. It's like, what do you enjoy? And how can we get you more of that? Mind you, I have it. So if you can see this in me, you also have it, is you have the ability to be authentic, and you being unapologetically you literally draws attention to you. If this connects to number 8 on your throat, does it or no? If it did, you would have the channel of literally, is this called awakening or influence? Can't recall, but it basically makes you an influencer, the design of someone that people see and look up to, and they're like, oh my God, you have half of the channel, so you do inspire. You are designed to be seen. The direction of your life is in the now. What are you doing, and how you doing this impacts other people to want to do the same. My gosh, girl, I apologize for my diction today. But does that make sense? Basically how it's in the now, and it's about creating and allowing that creation to come through you.
Absolutely.
Beautiful. So again, all of these have a love or a direction. So I'm pointing it out over here, but I didn't want to cloud the meaning because I need you to understand so that then I can tell you how to heal it or how to turn it into, I don't want to call it money because I feel like abundance of spirit and money, like they're aligned. You make money when you're you. You make money when you're happy. You make money when things are natural, right? So I'm going to tell you what the shadow is if you overdo it, right? So for example, here is you don't like to be led. You don't like to be told what to do. But deeper than that, you're a loner. You like to be alone and create, but there's a certain distancing that happens there, but you need to be seen in the now as you're doing. So then we get to gate 13. That's right here. Do you have that one?
I don't.
Okay. Well, for the ladies that do, I have this one myself. It's called the gate of the listener. So this is someone who is a healer. But the kind of healer that you are, it's of the soul. You have the ability to listen, but you listen with like your mouth closed, your ears open, where it comes from like empathy. And you have the ability to forgive what's being said before they're done saying it. Because you just have this open love of like men, the fellowship of men. It's like love of all of humanity. And the negatives here is because people tell you everything, you can become the dumping ground where people just tell you, oh, I cheated on my husband. Oh, I got molested. And you're just sitting there like, what do I do with all these secrets, right? And it can turn into darkness because if you don't lean into that forgiveness, you can become really bitter, really resentful, and just kind of hold on to that anger, that blame, and just live in the past. So the direction here is looking back. And I can attest to this one myself because that's what I've had to overcome. Forgiving my childhood trauma, the people who hurt me and all of that stuff, and my ex-husband. And there was a lot of rage that came from that because I don't forget. It's like I'm the collector of memories. And as the listener, not only my memories, but everybody dumped on me, right? So that's a very typical gate 13, but it's a gift because you're literally collecting stories to help humanity. It's like you're putting it all together and then you're meant to share it with the world. But most people don't have the connection like I do to gate 33 above. So it becomes taking, and then you do nothing with all of that. You're just living in the past. Now, gate 25, do you have this one? Okay, so this one is called innocence, or the gate of the spirit of the self. And this is an interesting one because it's like a flower that was born on top of a pile of crap. So if you can imagine the worst, most horrible thing, and I have this channel, the most horrible things that could happen to someone are the things that become the fertilizer for this flower to be born. And if you think of a flower, I think it's like the lotus that's born out of the mud and the gunk, right? It's the most beautiful thing. And when you look at the flower, it's perfect, it's pure, it's innocent. So the vibe here is innocence, right? Out of all the pain that's happening in the world, this forces people to look inward and to be unique. And they almost have like a childlike nature, like the Fool card in tarot, where you're just leaping and knowing that the universe has your back, even though you're standing on a pile of shit. You literally think the universe got my back. I'm going to be okay. I'm a beautiful flower. And that leads to like unwavering faith and trust in the universe, but also like impulsivity, recklessness, spontaneity. So you have this love of like humanity and God, this, you know, spirit of the self, but deeper than that, it doesn't exclude anything. So this is someone who's almost like a spiritual warrior, and like your innocence, your trust gets tested over and over again. And if anyone here has it, you can attest to this because I live that every single day. So going on to gate 46, do you have this one? Okay, well, this one's called pushing upward, determination of the self. And the thing here is the love of the body. So we've moved from direction to love. There is one more direction here, but this one is about embodying who you are. Think about the soul is energy, the body is physical, right? So this is all about the senses, physicality, being present, loving your body, loving your identity, enjoying the humanness of this experience. So in this channel, it's someone who's very driven by the quality of their lives. They like nice things, things that smell good, that feel good to the touch. The thing that happens here is their healing is rooted in their physical body. But deeper than that, their connection to God is through their physical body. And deeper than that, the more they trust and lean into their body, the luckier they seem to get. Things just land in their lap. God provides for them because they're present for the experience. Now, gate number 2 down here is called the receptive. Do you have this one? Okay, so this one is about the direction of the self, and it's all about direction and vision in a different way. So this is someone who has like inner guidance or an inner knowledge of like where they're meant to go in life and where other people should be going in life. So this is like the advisor that can see your life before you can make sense of what you're meant to do and where you're meant to go, right? The gift and the curse is that people have to want to hear it. Nobody wants you to tell them how to live their lives until they care to hear what you have to say. So the negatives here is thinking you know everything because you're thinking about it, instead of trusting that what you need to know about the direction is given to you. So remember, this is all about love and direction. So the epitome of love lives right here. The epitome of direction right here. Hi, Tina.
Hello.
I
Sorry.
love that. It's okay. We have an intimate class today. I hope that's okay.
Awesome. Thank you.
Beautiful. So gate 15, this is called modesty, or the gate of extremes. Do you have this one, Tina or Dira?
I do.
Okay, Tina, what about you in the G Center?
Let me check. Hold on.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, I'll give you a minute to pull your chart. You just walked in and I'm like, yeah, grab your chart for me.
Yes, I think I do have 15. Yeah.
Beautiful. So this particular channel is called modesty, but the reason why it's extremes is because this is someone who is in love with the extremes of life. So you're very flexible, very adaptable to changing tasks, people changing moods, rhythms, routines, culture. Like you almost need variety in your life. You need rhythm, you need stimulation, you need to have something to like live for. What comes with this channel and the reason why it's also very extreme is because you love all of humanity. Think like Mother Teresa or Jesus. You're going through the world, and I have this channel, you're going through the world embracing all the extremes, like the people who are in prison and the people who are millionaires, you can love them equally. You don't see different, right? So the biggest thing here is you create allowance for people to be diverse, and you might have friends from all walks of life. Like people are like, how the hell are you connected? You can see the soul. You can connect to the innermost part of a human being. So it's the archetype of a humanitarian, but you have to learn to surrender to life. And by loving humanity, that's your purpose. Now, gate number 10, it's the last one up here, is called treading or behavior of the self. Do either of you have this one?
I do.
Okay, Tina, what about you, love?
No, I don't have that one.
Okay, sorry, hope I'm not interrupting. I can't see you. Okay, so gate number 10, this one is, again, a theme of love. So it's about the behavior of the self, but I want you to think like self-love, self-empowerment, radical self-love. No ifs, nor buts. You are here to love yourself, to be selfish, and to empower and inspire other people to love themselves because you love yourself. So gate number 10 is all about being authentic. And even if you're in dissonance with other people, you can influence them. Like even if you have nothing in common, they look at you being you, authentically, unapologetically being you, and that makes them question their relationship with themselves. So the biggest thing here is strategy and authority. Wait to respond. You can't, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm just going to describe it how it comes through is you literally go through life, through pain or love, to love yourself. Your entire being, your entire mission, it's about you loving you and embracing all the flaws, all the mistakes. And if you're sitting there talking in the mirror like, ew, you're fat, or you're literally, what's the word I'm looking for? Like creating more hardships for yourself. This is like radical. There is no ifs. You are going to love yourself. That's literally what it comes down to. So this is someone who has a deep impulse to move based on self-love and authenticity. So you can wake other people as long as you're being authentic and as long as you're standing in your truth. So this is all about individual empowerment. And as you do, then you bring that empowerment and that individuality and uniqueness to other people. Does that make sense, Kira? Beautiful. So now
Absolutely.
let's go a little bit deeper. We understand the logic behind some of these gates. Which other ones do you have here before I move on?
Hey, you guys, I believe that I only have 15.
Okay, perfect. So we
And
didn't.
it like connects to 5. So I don't know, but I just have that one.
So routines are very important to you, but we'll get into that. So 15 is all about rhythm, but I'll go even deeper because now I'm going to teach you how to align or clear or the word that comes to mind is like shock the system back to where it's supposed to be operating from so that abundance can come into your life. And abundance of everything, not just money, right? So let's call it calibrating. Let's calibrate it back towards love and abundance and direction, because the G center, this is the driver of the car, right? You are always attracting. And yes, you have the sacral as generators that's attracting, but the sacral is more of a yes or no. Yes, right now. And is the thing right? The G center, it's like your life story is there. It's all about love and beauty and abundance. And you can only attract to the degree that you are energetically aligned. Otherwise, it doesn't come in. meaning that if you only believe you deserve 2 apples, even if there's 2,000, you can only have 2. So this is where calibrating it and coming back to like, what is it that's going to trigger that shock of like, I love myself, I deserve more, I need to come first. It's shocking it with what is it, what's your medicine, quote unquote, right? So looking at all of these gates, starting from number 7. So this is all about the army. And you have this one, Dira. So this is someone who is an influential leader already. So you are the influence behind the leader and you're meant to empower other people. That is literally how you recalibrate your system and how money flows into your life. You empowering other people clears this block around being too harsh or too direct. You're here to use your influence to help people rise. So this is more of a guideline, and then you get to create your own formula of like how to bring this in more into your business. So obviously you're an empowerment coach. You're in alignment with where you're meant to go, because for you, it comes through pain or love, but that's where you're going, right? So number 1, I have this one, you have this one. This is all about the capacity to allow and receive, right? So remember, this is the creative, the true expression of the creative, it's feminine energy. Because if you think about feminine energy, how can you receive creativity? How can you receive divine inspiration? How can you receive abundance and love if you don't work on your femininity? So again, Dira, you're already in alignment with this, but it's just bringing awareness to even deeper that you were born to do this. You're meant to work on empowering feminine energy. Now going into number 13, I don't believe you have this one, right? But for any of the ladies in the recording that do, this is someone who listens, right? They get told all of these stories, all of these secrets, and they're just literally sitting with all of this stuff. And it can go one way where you're like resentful and angry, like, damn, everybody dumps on me. I hate the world. Everything's wrong. Or you can work on learning from the past and learning to forgive. And this particular one in my life has been really prominent because forgiveness has been what's been releasing my healing. Every time I forgive a person and truly let it go, that's when I quantum leap in life, right? So then gate 25, Dira, do you have this one, my love? Or she just have
No.
Okay. So for the ladies in the recording, if anyone does, this is the one where you literally access your relationship with source, God, spirit, universe, right? So the only way for you to receive, the only way for you to rebirth that innocence of like the full card, like jumping into things and stepping in faith is to heal your relationship with God. Again, I have this gate. So me and God got to work it out, right? There's a lot of like surrendering and trusting and allowing that has to happen so that God can like deliver you where you're meant to go. So you're seeing a theme of like, this is 1, healing, and 2, like where you're headed in career, right? So then we get into gate 46 right here. I don't believe either one of you has it, but for the recording, this particular gate is all about the embodiment, being in your body, loving your body. So this is all about embodying and your body image. If you hate your body, you are not going to receive. If you're tearing yourself down, money is not going to come in. If you're not in your body, like doing body work and yoga and embracing what is and accepting the, you know, the flaws, quote unquote, right? Like it's almost like sensory play. Your body's your temple. What can you touch? What can you smell? What brings you joy? What makes you feel alive in your body? And when you get aligned, this is all about, you get lucky. Lucky meaning blessed, right? Once you tap into being in your body and going through life, enjoying your humanness, the doors literally open up and abundance flows in. So gate number 2, I don't believe either one of you has it, right? Okay. So this one is about allowing your purpose and your authentic self to just be. So you do not let your mind override what you know to be true in your soul. So this is all about having direction for you and for others. Like this is the key to the car. They know where the car is going, but you can't lead the blind if you're leading from the mind. It's all about doing work to like align with your authentic self and your purpose. And your purpose and your authentic self live in your G center. So if you think about it from a chakra perspective, this is your heart. Open up your heart, let go of all that pain and embrace who you really are. Even if you think you're weird, even if you think you're quirky, even if you think no one's going to like you, the whole point of this is self-love, authenticity. Now moving into gate 15, I believe you both have this one, right? Beautiful. So this one, remember we talked about Mother Teresa and Jesus, like humanitarian. I also have this one, but this is all about being of service. Whatever you were gifted, whatever you have, this is major scale. You're not just going to affect 2 people. You literally have the ability to affect the world, but it comes with humbleness, because your gift is not about money. Money will come, but your gift is to give it to service to humanity. Meaning that if you can help women, for example, you, Dira, in a shelter for free, while you're still getting $1,200 from a client, that's the purpose of your gift. You can't just like money, money, money and forget about the modesty, the humbleness, the humanity part of you, because then you lose sight of why you're here. So that goes to both of you. Big, big things you came to do, myself included. And then gate number 10, Dira, I believe you have this one, self-love. You got to pollute your environment with loving yourself, and everything that happens in your life is literally going to force you to love yourself. You come first, second, and third. The whole point of your journey is about you. So all of that to say, I know that was a lot I just threw at you, right? It's lovability, identity, purpose, self-worth. If you have an open G center, you question your deservability and your worth, but in business, this is one that really stumps everyone. Why don't we feel worthy? What's in the way? So now I just want to check in and see how you guys are feeling, because I know we're about, what, 5 weeks in, 6 weeks in at this point? What have you learned about yourself? Where are you at? Because now it's about moving forward. So how did all of this make you feel? Just feel free to unmute. And I'm glad it's intimate because we can spend time here.
I mean, I feel great about this. I feel like this is a lot of confirmation. I've noticed the more I get into my feminine energy and empower others to do the same, the better I do. I had just as an example, I had posted like 3 or 4 TikToks last week, all sat at like 10 views. I posted one talking about my story yesterday morning. It's been up for like 14 hours, already has 300 views. So I was like, okay, so showing people how I got to where I'm at and how to love themselves and empower themselves to get through that, that seems to really be the key. And so I am absolutely thrilled about that. I can't wait. And Maria actually suggested getting in touch with the vet center. So I've been talking to them about what I can do there as well.
Yes. Well, this is the part where we're putting it all together, right? I've taught you basics. You've narrowed it down to like you, right? And then we talked about the fear, what's in the way. I gave you guys homework. We're going to talk about it. And now I'm building it up by adding, like, if I were doing a life purpose reading, 90% of the focus is right here. On top of your incarnation cross, on top of a few things that I see that are like, wow, these are your gifts, right? Tina, what about you, my love?
Yeah, I think the 15 is very on point. I feel like I have a lot of different friends, like all over the place. And I do give grace, I think, in space for everybody in my life. And I care so much to the point where I will literally like drain myself to help my friends and clients. It doesn't matter. Like I'll do whatever, you know. And I just think it's really funny because even like my boyfriend will be like, don't get too like, you know, don't get too involved because you get stressed out and like, you know, all this stuff. And I'm like, I'm fine, you know, but really I just want to like pour out as much as I can. It's like in my bones. Like I cannot help myself. So this is definitely confirmation for me that it's not necessarily like a bad thing. I guess just trying to find balance in that, and that it's a good thing, I guess, but definitely confirmation there because I am always like wanting to help humanity in some way. And it's like, I don't have all the tools to do that, but I'll try to find it, you know, like I'll find some resource.
I love it. Well, the thing here is you're never going to be 100% clear what is you until you try on what's not you. And you're like, The thing about being a humanitarian, and for me, I have a lot of these Kates, like my journey is deep, but the whole humanitarian piece is not martyrdom. You're not taking from you to give to the world, but your mission is about humanity. It's about the masses. It's about helping people. Even if you are making money, giving back. Like Jesus or Mother Teresa, where like the prostitute got loved and the one that was like the murderer got loved, right? You can see good in everything and everyone. So a lot of people don't have that heart. You both, myself included, we were born with that. So a lot of people don't understand why we feel this desire to sacrifice. Our gift is to give it away. Our whole lives, the whole purpose of our life is to give it away. That's why when the inner compass gets really loud, you can't walk away from your mission because you're here to give it away. You know, they call it, some people say star seeds or whatever you want to call it. You're here for a reason, you're here for a purpose, and that's your sign, right? But no martyrdom. We're not doing that. So now I want to check into the homework. How was that for you, ladies? What did you uncover as far as like what's holding you back? Did you do your homework? I don't want to put you on the spot if you didn't.
I did some of it. I'm trying to look it up. Hold on one second. Let me pull up my notes.
Tierra, what about you, babe?
I had to go back to that fear of poverty thing. That had been something that had been sitting on me for a while, like a big dark cloud. So I've been doing work on it. I'm going to continue doing work on it. But what I found is it's not so much that I'm afraid of myself not having, I'm afraid of the people I provide for not having. So, my kids, my sister, I help her out, things like that. So I worry about what would happen if, things weren't going well financially, what would happen to them essentially.
Well, you're not the provider. You know that, right?
That's what I'm working on.
Well, that's the truth. It's never, even though we think, yeah, I'm the one working and showing up, you're not the provider. You're not the reason your kids have or don't have. But we'll go a little bit deeper. Tina, what about you, my love?
I completely resonate with everything she just said.
Really?
Yeah, like I do. I really did. That's really interesting. Like I never put words to that, but I definitely feel like that pressure with like even like my family and like a responsibility, even though I know like, you know what I mean? It's not about me. Like I don't care if I don't have anything, but I do feel that where it's like, oh Lord, what if they don't have because I don't have? But you're right, Jordy, we are not God. So it's definitely something to
We forget.
Unpack.
Yeah, it's like if God is the ocean, we're a drop. Do you really think it's up to you if you bring or don't bring? Are you salty because you were born salty, or are you salty because you're in the ocean and you're a piece of the whole thing?
Yeah,
like
that's so true.
Perspective is everything. And I want to do a meditation with you guys that's about embodying or stepping into your new self. But we need to create that first.
Yeah.
So I'm hearing poverty. I'm hearing fear. I'm hearing awareness. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was going to share. I did write something down for my fear, like journaling. But it was when we did the meditation last time, what came up was the inadequacy thing. And I do struggle with that a lot. I did journal on it. And I think it always comes back to how I know how like perfect something can be. So I want to achieve that. But then I've proven to myself when I at least take a step, it still blows people away. So it's like, I have to figure out a good balance between like, I don't ever want to be that person that's like, it'll be good enough. You know what I mean? I still want to show up good and correct. So my fear is that one day I'll be like, well, it always works itself out and I won't give it my all and then it'll all fall apart. So it's like, I have this nervousness of like, even though I know perfection is not attainable, I really want it to be so good because if I don't have that like stress feeling, I feel like it won't, like people like, this is trash. I'm like, I knew I should have, tried to make it almost like, I don't know. I
Is
think
it
about like
very
Beyonce. She talked about like she was having like panic attacks. And we're like, but Beyonce, you know what I mean? But she pours everything into her stuff. So it's amazing, but she still stresses. Like I identify with that.
Did you hear what you said though? If
No.
I don't feel that stress, I don't feel like I'm doing enough.
Right.
So the goal here, now that we've become aware of all of this, everything that you are, everything that you're prone to, what's in the way, so inadequacy, poverty mindset, and even deservability at some level, right? I'm going to give you 3 to 5 minutes, and I want you to write what the new version of you is. And what I mean by that is, what is all the awareness that you've gained? What is everything that has come to you intuitively in the last 5 weeks that you're trying to step into, but you feel like you're in between the two? Because there's a part of you that hasn't let go of the woman that walked in at the beginning of our course. And I want you to check in with where you are now and also where you're being led to go. Does that make sense? Just 3 to 5 minutes of tuning into, like, I don't want to call it future self, but that's essentially what it is. Like, what comes to mind? And I'll give you an example. Let's say when the course started, I didn't know myself. And now I'm in a place of, wow, I became aware that I have this fear. I became aware that I have to overcome this. You know, in many ways, I've already aligned with some of my purpose. Now I want to embody this and that. And I tune into future self and I'm like, I don't want this fear to be in my way anymore. I'm confident, I'm empowered, my dependability is in God, it's not in myself. That's the kind of vibe I want you to journal about, just 3 to 5 lines. And then we're going to do a meditation to really bring it home. But I just want you to have an idea before we go into the meditation.
One second, I'm gonna grab my
Can you guys hear that music? Give you ladies 1 more minute. Okay. Are you ladies able to hear me and the music? Awesome. So this meditation is all about trying on the new body almost. I want to help you like tune in fully to what's coming through right now. Because when you're journaling, a lot of times you don't know why it's coming up. But I want to help you connect a little bit deeper to like your new self, what that feels like. Because from here on, the challenge is showing up as her. Now that you know better, now we're going to start embodying. Okay. So you can stand or you can sit, but this is going to require you to face one way and then another way. So it's a meditation. If you prefer to have the camera off, that's okay. But let me know what feels good. So basically, I'm going to have you guys either stand up or sitting, and we're going to play with both sides of your body. So are you guys right-handed, left-handed? Right? What about you, Dira? Good.
Right.
So this is your dominant hand. So this is going to be your old self. So you're going to face right to face the old you, and then we can get started. So go ahead and close your eyes. Start taking some nice deep breaths, getting connected to your body, grounded in this moment. Just breathe into this part of you. See how it feels in your body when you connect to your old self. Notice what sensations or feelings you experience here. Notice if any images or colors come up. Just really tune in. And if you were to give them a voice, notice what they would say. Notice how she's showing up. How has she served you up until this date? What is she refusing to let go of? What is she the most afraid of? What would happen if you didn't let go of this part of you? Notice if there's anything else she wants to say to you in this moment. I want you to keep your eyes closed and now face the middle. And just take a nice deep breath. Shake it off. We're in present moment. And now I want you to take a deep breath and face to the opposite side. So turning left, connect to your new self. Notice what it feels like to stand in her shoes. And really tune into any feelings or sensations that come up when you embody her. What images or colors or visions come up as you tune into her? See what emotion she's experiencing. What does your new self need in order to shed the old self? Take it all in. Just notice if she has anything else she wants to say to you in this moment. Take a moment to thank her. And with your eyes closed, just slowly turn back to the middle. And now from this point of view, what needs to happen for you to allow yourself to fully step into your new self? I want you to imagine that as you turn to your left, you're going to allow yourself to fully integrate with your new self. Just whenever you're ready, start turning to your left and allow that integration to happen. Mind, body, and soul. You may feel called to express an emotion, move in a particular way, set an intention, envision an image, whatever you need to fully embody your new self. Notice what becomes possible for you when you're showing up as her. Notice how you feel when you're fully integrated with your new self. Now I want you to set a goal in mind and just receive whatever you need in this moment to continue operating from this place to bring that goal into being. And notice if there's anything else that comes up or anything else you feel called to share from your new self to feel complete in this moment. Now put your hands over your heart. And take a moment to thank yourself. And just make any other adjustments you need, whether that is standing, stretching, breathing. Allow yourself to slowly notice where you're sitting and allow yourself to come back into this present moment. And whenever you're ready, feel free to open your eyes and we can continue. How was that, ladies?
That was really nice.
Yeah? Would you like to share what you experienced?
I feel like Dear always goes first, so I'll go first. She's like, girl, I'm done going first. When I was facing my old self, I immediately felt so tense and just so like cringe-worthy in a way. Like I just, but then also I had like compassion for it too. So it was like, oh, like I automatically thought of all the things that I've done wrong, but also like, no, that's when you said like think how she's got you here. And then I had like compassion, like, no, there was not like everything happened the way it should have. So I kind of went from being like judging myself to like, no, it's okay. Like even when I was trying to, embody other people because I thought that would be better, it was fine. And then when you had us turn on this side, I automatically was like, oh, like my posture side, I was like, look at this chick doing her thing, like like just totally different reaction. And I didn't really see any like colors, but I saw like a lot of flowers. But the flowers mean a lot to me. So that I saw that. And then I saw just like myself really lit up and like helping a lot of people and just kind of like fulfilled from helping people.
Mhm.
But I also kind of heard like that I have to get rid of all of this stuff if I want to help other people. Like if I want to provide this environment for women, I have to shed all that stuff off and just be like being myself is enough in that way, like the real version, not embodying other people.
Mhm.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
long-winded, but that's what I got.
Dear, what about you, my love?
Tina, we must be on the same wavelength because that was beautiful. I when I was facing the right, the old version of me, I immediately felt like there was a weight on my shoulders. My back started to hurt. It was reminded me of my days of bedside nursing with always kind of limping because you're carrying so much all the time. And then, as Tina said, when you were like, well, think about how she got you here. And then I started to see when you're in military training and you're carrying the heavy pack and you're crawling through the mud, and it was like, oh well, she got me through the military training, so to speak, so that I could be here. And I then too started to have compassion. Yeah, go ahead, girl. And then too started to have compassion for her, and I was like, this is brilliant. And so I did see the color brown, but for me that's mud. That's the previous me making things harder than they needed to be and dragging myself through it. And then on the other side that I embodied, it was, as simple and cheesy as it's going to sound, is, pretty much just be yourself, trust in yourself, love yourself, trust in your gifts. And as you do that, I don't have to provide for other people. I can empower them to provide for themselves. Like, all I've got to do is just be me. And I too saw flowers, which they also mean a lot to me. So
Wow.
it was so exciting. And
What goal? What goal did you set?
the goal that I set is to show up as myself every day. I need to stop worrying about it. I get to, I'm going to check because I'm working on my wording. I get to stop worrying about the particulars and the perfectionism. And I get to just show up and be me and trust in who I am and let everything come to me as it's supposed to. And then I wait to respond. Ah.
I love it. Tina, what was your goal?
Dira, you're so funny. Yeah, my goal was similar. Just honestly, like seeing my future, like the future me, and then certain recent events that have happened. It is really just like, even when I'm nervous, when I'm just being honest and sharing whatever, oh my God, my dog is so rude. He's like yawning. I'm so sorry. But anyhow, I've noticed when I am truly honest and I'm just being myself and I'm sharing whatever's on my heart, it's like it really does help, and it helps the people that I'm working with. It helps people in my life in general. And it always opens doors for the next opportunity. And so I think if I want to reach that woman, I do have to continue to, even when it's uncomfortable, I think it's wrong to just say the thing, do the thing, post the thing, create the thing, and be okay and know that it's going to reach the right people, and it'll always come back to me in double.
Yes. Well, the integration is step one because you don't notice how extensive the change is until you start living like this new you. And what I mean by that is you have it in your head. Now you've cemented the energy in your body. Now it's about how you show up going forward. Obviously, Dira already started moving in that energy. Tina, I know you've been moving in that energy. So I'm excited to see next week what comes up, what transpires, but sit with those feelings. And I would encourage you to journal because your worth is that. That's where it comes from. Being you unapologetically, authentically, and tapped into self, source, whatever you call it. That feeling, old you got you here. You've been through the unlearning of the way that you've been operating. Now it's about creating better for yourself. And you have embodied the new way of operating. And what I mean by that is everything that you wrote down and everything that's going to come through you after tonight, whenever you journal, make a mission statement. or make something that when you get up every morning, you read to yourself to put yourself in this frequency and just watch what happens. Let's try it for the week. And ladies, with the recording, when with the meditation, and then let's see where you're at in a week, because now we're actually getting to the work and not so much the teaching. I actually want to see you guys quantum leap. We have a couple of weeks for that. How are you ladies feeling? Can I have one word before I let you go?
That's exciting. One word, excited still. I did want to throw something else in there real quick, something that's helped me, Tina. Consistent, committed, imperfect action. I got that from my dating coach last year. Basically, show up, do the thing. Doesn't have to be perfect. It's helped me a lot.
I love that. Tina, what about you, love?
She took my word. I was gonna say excited, but I guess I'll go to church expectant for the future. Because yeah, there's just so much like opportunity and potential. And I think when you start to open your eyes to it, it's like, dang, like there's really so much more. So
Yes,
I'm expected and excited.
I love it. I love it. I'm excited, ladies. I don't want to add more because obviously I could talk all day, but I love that it was an intimate class. I feel like it was meant to. So journal, sit with that. Tomorrow I'll send the replay and I'll send you some journaling prompts to go a little bit deeper. Just take note all week. If anything notable happens, let me know. Meaning you're showing up as her, and just watch how doors open and how things line up. And I can't wait to hear about it next week. That I will let you go, my loves. Hope you
Thank
have a
you.
beautiful rest of your night.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, ladies. Take care.